speed of Katy Perry. Able to reach on an infield single. And so 2 aboard, 1 out here for Cuesta, and they got something going once again. How about a barometer? Like, how much of this is a barometer test for this Cuesta College team? I mean, you can say, okay, they're off to a great start. They're 12-6, but also they're up there in the Central Coast, and you got some really good, talented softball players down here in Southern California. Not only players, but teams as well. How much of this could be a barometer for this team going forward? You know, a kind of a gut check, like, hey, you know, we really are this good.
Well, the coach and I were talking about their RPI when they got here today and where it stood and how she felt about it as that ball's fouled away, Rahshaun. And, of course, her and I, again, aren't big fans of RPI. But if you look at it, they've got a better record than Cerritos College, but their RPI is much lower than Cerritos College. So a win today would be huge for them because they could play against that Southern California team.
Seamus deep to center, but Davis is there and 2 away. That'll bring up the number 2 hitter, Emily Juarez. Juarez popped up to second her first time up, and looks like we're going to start to see some activity in that Cerritos bullpen.
And, of course, Ed Ford, the voice for Northern California softball, will tell us that, yeah, there is that equal plane between North and South.
Fouled straight back by Juarez. 0-1. I'm not sure that Ed agrees with you.
I was afraid he was gonna pop me down just then.
I thought that's what I thought that's where he was going. I know that move. Here's the 0-1 off speed and 1-1.
Well, and we talked about it last week. I mean, you've been around so much in high school sports and community college sports that there is that tendency for us as announcers to, shall I say, lean towards the South when it comes to sports.
Absolutely. This one in the dirt. Check over to first, but no throw. I mean, obviously, it's what we know, right? And we see this on a weekly basis. So, I mean, there's maybe a little bit of prisoner of the moment to that, and maybe even a little bit of bias, if I'm being candid. Off speed high, and the count is 3-1. But I think, I mean, it's been proven, though, right? I mean, the teams in the South normally get it done.
Well, you look in softball with Mount Sac, it's been proven along the way. The championship, Cypress, with the Pickler brothers. When you look over at the Mr. Pickler over at Cypress, always a winner. But, Rahshaun, I go back to an area that you're known for when we talk high school sports. I mean, you've said to me more than once when we've done football games together and told me the lineage of, it's not just 2 years, 3 years. I mean, we've known each other for a long time. It feels like it's 20-year lineage when you start talking to me about the high school players.
Yeah, I will say this, that the gap is closing, if it hasn't closed already. There was a time when, you know, when they first started these state bowl games in high school football, you go back to 2006, it was almost a given, right, that the South was going to win, and De La Salle was really the lone hope that the North had. But I think the playing field has evened out a little bit. You've seen Folsom come down here and have some success. You've seen some other teams up there like a Palo Alto, and this one's going to score a run, maybe more, as Ziegler going to score safely, and Crawford in there without a slide as well. It's a 2 RBI double for Juarez, and it's 3-1 Cuesta.
I guess the young women can hear us when we're talking up Southern California, huh?
Yeah, Cuesta also in that weird spot, right? Do you consider them Southern California, or do you consider them Northern California? Because they're right there on the Central Coast, right? So they're not really. It's
but we can't make them neutral, can we?
Yeah, you can't make them neutral. It's almost like they got to pick a side, right? I know there's been changes because those teams used to be considered Southern Section teams as far as high school goes. So you go up there to Paso Robles, Arroyo Grande, Napomo. A lot of those schools out there on the Central Coast, they were all Southern Section teams up until a couple years ago. They got moved to up to the Central Section up there. So it's off-speed pitch taken for a strike by the lefty Ziegler. Vargas and Perry scoring those runs there for Cuesta. And fouling that one back is Ziegler, and the count is 1-2. But I don't know. I mean, they have to be something, right? If they're one or the other, are they north or are they south?
I'm gonna put them in the northern
You
region.
put them in the north?
Yeah. It's probably going to tell me I'm wrong, but, I even put Bakersfield in the north.
It's a weird dynamic as Ziegler swings and misses at that one. And the side is retired, but Cuesta coming down to Cerritos and doing some damage in the homecoming for Janelle Guadagno. They lead it 3-0 through 1.5.
Don't forget, all our games here are brought to you by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. That's right, Miller Toyota Anaheim, located at Euclid and the 91, is a proud sponsor. Community college sports, high school sports, but most of all, education. We want to thank Miller Toyota for all the games that they sponsor and making sure that Rahshaun Haylock to my left is always heard at the Golden West College games. He'll be back again for football this coming year with Nick Mitchell and his group at Golden West College. And, of course, Corey Nalen and I, we'll stick around for at least one more year and be there over at Fullerton College and see what happens this year. And, of course, we've got some more softball games on the road, and we'll see what other surprises Ed Ford brings around for you on sports@usa.net. Tomorrow we're going to do on 90.1 KBPK, little lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
Club lacrosse is going on now at the community colleges. So Cal State Northridge has a women's lacrosse team. Cal State Fullerton, Cal State Long Beach. I think Dominguez Hills. Then it's Stanford, Fullerton College, and I don't know, one other community college is in there, and that is the WCLA lacrosse league that they're involved in. So tomorrow we'll have a little lacrosse.
No kidding.
Going on. Yeah. Women's lacrosse, which is much different than men's lacrosse. It's not as physical, but it is high scoring. Watch the replay of Maryland taking on Virginia last year, where Maryland won. Their star player scored 97 goals in 23 games.
That's incredible. So it'll be Gambala, Jimenez, and Martinez, the 6, 7, and 8 hitters.
Well, since Cuesta's in the Western State North Division, I guess I'm sort of right.
You're sort of right. Well, if you look at it that way, Mark.
See, somebody knew I was talking too much about Northern California. He's decided he's going to chime in.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
Ed Ford's going to chime in and say, Mark, here, let me correct you on Northern California softball.
Hey, does this thing work?
I think it does.
At least one thing it does.
That pitch high, and it counts 3-0 to Gambala, the freshman out of San Diego. He's 3 for 21 this season.
So, Ed, you can be Cuesta, North, South, Central?
Well, they're in the South. The one that absolutely makes no sense is Bakersfield.
Okay.
Bakersfield is north and east of Taft.
Right.
Taft is west and south of Bakersfield. Taft is in the northern section. Bakersfield is in the southern section.
Yeah.
Absolutely makes no sense.
Yeah, it's one
Think they're going to change that in the SCFA at all?
Oh, man.
No. Bakersfield has a lot of pull. But at least this year they changed the conference to where Bakersfield isn't in with Cuesta anymore. They moved Bakersfield out back into with LA Valley and those teams. So, you know, they've kind of changed up Antelope Valley's in with Bakersfield. So, I think 2 years ago, though, Bakersfield was in with those teams. So it's Cuesta, Ventura, Moore Park, Allen Hancock, so on and so forth.
Dom Jimenez showing bunt, pulling it back, but still a strike. 0-1 the count, no outs, as Gambala drew a leadoff walk. And takes a look at strike 2. So Jimenez quickly down in the count. 0-2, hitting .226 on the season. The freshman catcher out of Pico Rivera. Takes high for ball 1. It's very interesting how where, you know, certain people like to draw the lines. I remember there was a championship game between as Jimenez grounds this one to short. They go to second for 1. This one thrown away. So Jimenez going to reach, but they get the lead runner, Kambala. I remember Big Bear once had to travel 6 hours for a championship game. They went from Big Bear to, it was up in the Central Coast. It's unreal. 530 miles, I want to say it was.
Wow.
That's
One
way.
Wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong.
I can't remember if they won that.
Well, that's one of the reasons I believe, with at least in CIF, that they moved Boron. Used to be a perennial, whatever that was, Division 13 powerhouse in football and such, but they're not in the southern section anymore.
Swing and missing there is Martinez, the designated player today, hitting 8th. Martinez hitting .264 on the year. She's got a home run and 3 RBIs. Freshman out of El Monte. Looks at an off-speed pitch, and they snap throw to first, but getting back quickly is Jimenez. It's Cody Murray, the head coach and third base coach for this Cerritos team. You can hear her giving instructions to Martinez at the plate. We may see a new pitcher for Cerritos when they go back out. Klein still rolling here for Cuesta. Doesn't get that call, though, however, and the count's full.
You watch Klein right now. She's just being a little low. She's not clearing her hips out quick enough. In doing so, she doesn't get that forward stride cleanly to the plate. Therefore, the ball sails low.
This one popped up in the infield, and shortstop Seamus is there. 2 away.
And that is what you really don't want to do.
Yeah,
If
especially
you want to get an out, at least you can move the runner up. But
And Ed, if you watch Klein, she kept going low with her pitches. So if you watched her on that one, she just tried to throw a strike. And when you get that sweet pitch to hit, you know, you have to square up on the ball and drive it somewhere.
And this one hits Spolstra. So Kara Spolstra, the number 9 hitter, is going to get aboard after a hit by pitch. And that'll bring up the leadoff hitter, Soto.
earlier in the year when Cerritos played Riverside, she had a big-time game-winning home run.
So here's Soto. She had a single and advanced to second her last time up.
Well, I would imagine this is a good hitter's ballpark. The wind should blow up from the ocean, should help you get the ball to come out with wind behind you.
Soto, nice swing, but it's going to land right in front. And a beautiful throw home, but not going to get there in time. So a run scores as Soto able to drive in a run, and Cerritos gets on the board.
So you're going to mark down Soto as getting a base hit. That's not going to be a double. She takes second base on the throw. So if you're scoring with us at home, give her a single with an RBI. And advances on the throw home. The runners score and advance to third.
So Jimenez scores the run. Spoelstra at third and Soto at second. 2 away here as they conference in the circle around the starting pitcher, Kat Klein. Nice job by Juarez out there in center. It's a nice deke there. She came up as if she had the play, like she was going to make the catch. But Cerritos base runner's not fooled, unlike yours truly. Here's Haley Davis. Flied out to right her first time up. Huge opportunity for Haley Davis here from the RBI standpoint, and she takes high. The count is 1-1.
And more you will see in the game with a stick and a ball that they move their better hitters up. No longer do you keep that hitter at third or fourth. You get them up at second. Get them more at bats in the game.
Off speed, ball 2.
And Rahshaun, you look at this young lady, like you've already said, she can hit the ball. She hits the ball with power also for this Falcon team.
Coach Murray says she brings an intensity to every at-bat. It takes ball 3 there in the dirt. You mentioned Klein missing a lot of her pitches low. I guess that's where you want to miss if you're going to miss. But it looks like she wants no part of Davis here. Maybe pitching around her, and as I say that, Davis drives this one off the wall in left center. 2-run score as Davis is in with a stand-up double, and folks, we're tied. 3 apiece here. A 2-out, 2 RBI double for Davis, and Cerritos has tied this one up.
Well, what's real interesting with Klein is Klein, every once in a while, when she doesn't clear her hips well enough, throws the ball low. She throws the ball low, and then all of a sudden she gets it in a mindset, I'm going to find the strike zone again and give it to Davis, because that's the pitch she was waiting for in Rahshaun. When she got it, she handled the pitch that was set right over the middle of the plate.
It looked like she was pitching around her through almost all of the at-bat except that last pitch. Not sure if that was just a mistake there, but she definitely left it up. And Davis drove it right off the wall as Brianna Spoelstra, the number 3 hitter, is ahead in the count 2-0. She walked back in the first.
Well, watch Klein in the circle. When she tries to stay in control and put less velocity on the ball, she squares her shoulders up, but she throws slower. When she tries to throw harder, she drags her torso, and she doesn't square on. Therefore, when the ball comes out of your hand, it's coming out of your hand very late, and it rolls off your fingertips. It's going to be a low pitch. And once again, she's down and away. So it's somebody who, what she's struggling with right now, Rahshaun, is she's really struggling with mechanics in the circle.
Yeah, and she's not a true pitcher. She kind of converted there. Pitched a little bit last year as she issues a 2-out walk here to Spoelstra. Spoelstra on for the second time today with a walk. She fielded a little bit last year and was able to throw strikes, and so this year they asked her, hey, we may need you in a much larger role, and this is an opportunity for you to see the field. And so here she is, and she's pitched fairly well for them this season, but as you mentioned, there's a lot of things she's still learning about the position.
And we do have activity in the Cuesta bullpen. A couple pitchers getting loosened up.
So both bullpens busy here. 1-1 the count to Aros. Reached on a fielder's choice in the first, the cleanup hitter for Cody Murray. This one driven and right at the left fielder, Vargas. So the side is retired. Cerritos leaves 2, but they score 3, and they tie this game up at 3 apiece as we're through 2 here at Nancy Kelly Field. Falcons sent 8 to the plate in that half inning.
Well, Ed was talking about what they had done with Bakersfield and Cuesta. Right now, Bakersfield is in the Western State East Division. There, it's Canyons, Bakersfield, Antelope Valley, LA Valley, Glendale, LA Mission, Citrus, and West LA is who's in theirs. And then you go along the way. Oh, that picture didn't come out well. And so I lose my other picture, unfortunately. So I have Cuesta, Ventura, Oxnard, Moore Park, Allen Hancock, and of course my sheet turns off, but that's who's in the other half of that. Of course, when you look at, Ed, you look at the Inland Empire, you've got Barstow, the Desert, Chaffee, Mount San Jacinto, San Bernardino, and Victor Valley. That's an area you're familiar with.
Yes,
Right?
I am.
Right, it is. And, you know, you look out there, you never hear these teams really talk about in the game of softball. I've got to ask you, because you're out in that area, I mean, is there talent out in that area for those teams?
Well, yeah. The thing is, they adjusted the conferences. So now it's going to give College of the Desert and Barstow a better chance of getting into the playoffs. Because one thing we've noticed about the playoffs and the regionals is it's the same teams. And to the point of last year when we did the regional at
Rancho Santiago?
yeah, Santiago Canyon,
Yeah.
they played Pasadena again. They had played
yeah.
Pasadena the year before. I think the year before that, they played Ventura. The year before that, 2016, they played Ventura. So it will help, but it all depends on what happens with the RPI mark and how they, pick the playoff teams. Because if you remember, I think that was 2017. It was Feather River that won their conference, beat their foes in the conference, Butte and I think Shasta, but yet they chose Butte and Shasta to go into the playoffs, and Feather River didn't get in. Now, to me, it's like, okay, why do you have conferences then?
Yeah.
If you win the conference, you beat those teams, you have better records against those teams, RPI shouldn't come along and negate you winning the conference. If that's the case, then just drop conferences and just have some big conglomeration of teams and everybody plays, and whoever has the best RPI gets all the slots in the playoffs.
Yeah, and right now when you look at Northern California, San Jose is 14-1 as of today, and Monterey Peninsula is sitting there at 10-0, followed by West Valley, who's 9-3. So when you look at Northern California, those are really the three big teams up there in the north, with the Sequoias sitting there at 10-7. And then maybe the other one would be San Mateo, who right now is 19-2.
Well, you are missing another one there, sir.
I am. Who's my missing?
San Jose City College. They are hot stuff.
Are they?
Only one loss. I don't know what they did yesterday, but coming into yesterday, I believe they were at 13-1. So go to our website, sportsnetusa.net, look up at the pull down, the drop down bar, look at rankings, click rankings, and you'll see our strong 16, which is always different than the one that the CCCAA puts up, because we do it every week and it's more accurate. At least that's our opinion.
You know, next time tell me to take the headset you've got on so I'm one more seat away from Ed.
Well, you could always reach over and just...
Chasito Martinez now 1-1 to Claire Lohiza. Lohiza with a single back in the first. It'll be Lohiza, Crawford, and Nunless, the 4, 5, and 6 hitters for Cuesta here in the third. Off-speed pitch there and grounded right in front of us here on the third base side, out of play.
Now, if we were up on the Central Coast, on Highway 1, just going towards Morro Bay, I think it'd be a little bit cooler today.
A little
Maybe.
bit.
Oh, no maybes about it. It would be cool.
Off-speed pitch taken high by Lohiza.
Now,
2-2.
have you? I've never actually gone to Cuesta College. I've driven by it lots of times because I go to Morro Bay. But beautiful area for a community college to be
Yeah,
in. Just
I've never
gorgeous.
been to Cuesta College. I've been to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo a couple of times.
Yeah, it's just down the road.
Yeah,
towards Morro Bay.
it's beautiful out there. A buddy of mine works out there. He absolutely loves it. And talking to Coach Godano yesterday, she's just thrilled to be up there. She loves it. I mean, she misses home obviously being from down here, but she loves it up there.
See, I've been to SLO up there, and I would call that. See, to me, that's not Southern.
It's not Southern.
No.
Well, that's the Central Coast.
Yeah.
It's central. Yeah, they call it the Central Coast. That's what the natives call it. They say
its
Central
own
Coast.
thing.
It's its own. Yeah, it's its own vibe, its own attitude, everything. Nice vacationing though. Go out there, get away for a couple days. Not bad.
Now we know where he's at when you call him and we can't get a hold of him.
It's nice. The drive is a lot though. I'm so impatient. Like San Diego's typically like the most I can do for a drive, or Bakersfield. It's typically like the most I can do for a drive.
I'm not gonna say it. We'll just move on. Listen, you're young. I used to drive up there and come back the same day, so don't give me any of that stuff. And I had an 81 Volkswagen Rabbit that couldn't do over 80.
I've done a couple of turnarounds to Santa Barbara, and by the end of it, I'm just like, please, no, stop, please, just stop.
That was going downhill, right, Ed?
Oh, yeah, and that was going downhill, too. I mean, that car was so slow. A tin can.
Swinging and missing there is Bailey Crawford. As there's one away here. Full count to Crawford. And some people like to drive. I'd rather fly. This one fouled back and out of play.
Well, yeah, you always charter those flights and stuff like that. Right into San Luis Obispo Airport, no problem. The rest of us, don't have access to wings like you do.
Sounds good. Oh, I wish. Crawford swings and misses and goes down on strikes. So 2 up, 2 down for Cuesta here in the top half of the third. Cuesta, 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors. 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors for the home Falcons as well. As we have stumbled upon a pretty good game here today, folks. As Nunless looks at strike 1. Nunless grounded to first to end the inning. Off speed. I mean, the drives you make, Ed, every day are you deserve a medal or award or something.
Yeah.
And
It's called the stupid award.
Nunless grounds out to second, and so that's that. 3 up, 3 down. Side is retired for Cuesta here. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. As we're tied at 3 through 2.5.
The interesting thing, Ed, I'm going to go back to you just for a second because I'm really curious about this game. We ended up talking to the head coach of Cuesta. You heard me talking to her about the RPI, and you brought up the fact the same teams seem to get in the playoffs every year. But a game like this, to me, would be one of those games you may want to look at when you get into, all right, maybe a name team might get in, but who do I stick in the second, third, or fourth slot when you look at these two teams playing each other today? Whoever wins this game, even though it's early in the season, this could be that type of game that could be just enough to make sure you get in the playoffs when they start looking at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's an important game. And, the situation has gotten better. I mean, last year we saw Porterville get in. And, I mean, they could have picked a perennial team like Ohlone to get in the North, but they picked Porterville. Porterville had an outstanding season last year. They battled out in that Central Valley Conference where you have Reedley and Sequoias and Porterville and Fresno City. So they took 4 teams out there, which was, to me, kind of a surprise. I thought it would be, Porterville would be kind of the odd man out because you have a similar situation in the North and the South. In the South, all the teams, as we well know, from almost all the teams from the OEC always get into the regionals.
Right.
Last year, the only team that didn't get in were Saddleback and Golden West.
Yep.
I mean, they took Orange Coast. Orange
Santa
Coast with
Ana.
a play-in, Santa Ana, Riverside,
Fullerton.
Cypress, Fullerton, San Diego Canyon. My opinion was Orange Coast didn't deserve to get in. I mean, they played great at the beginning of the year, but they slumped at the end. They faded because with 11 games left, Cerritos was in about the same position as Orange Coast. And I was thinking both teams have to go something like 9-2 down the stretch to get in. Cerritos did that.
Mm-hmm.
Orange Coast did not. Orange Coast, I would have left out. So we do see some difference, a couple different teams getting there, and I hope that can happen. I mean, obviously, the teams have to play well on the field, too.
New pitcher for Cuesta. It's Riley Murray, 3-1 on the year, 3.26 ERA. She's allowed 1 home run, giving up 39 hits, 15 strikeouts, 12 walks, 23 runs, 16 of those earned in 34 1/3 innings. This is her 11th appearance of the year and her 5th out of the bullpen. She has the lone save of the year for Cuesta. That's not a save opportunity, of course, but Murray in there and is ahead in the count. 1-2. It's a big swing and miss there by Aaliyah Velasquez. Velasquez, the lone Falcon not to come to the plate in the last inning. We'll give you Klein's numbers in just a bit as Velasquez takes a tough pitch on the outside half, 2-2 the count. Klein finishes her day, 2 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 walks, 1 hit batsman. 3 runs allowed as Velasquez goes down on strikes.
Didn't look like she really got a good cut at that one. It seemed like at the end she was kind of holding up, so don't really know what happened there.
A little more heat coming from the circle.
Yes.
And this new Cuesta pitcher.
Off-speed pitch in there for a strike to Gambala, who walked her first time up back in the 2nd inning. This one finds a hole on the right side. They try a play at first, and it's airmailed, but a nice job of backing up the play by the catcher Lohiza. So Gambala aboard with a 1-out single. And enter the catcher Dom Jimenez. Jimenez was late coming out of the dugout before the last half inning. They were checking her out, the training staff was. But she was able to return back behind the plate. It was a quick inning. And she's back there, steps in at the dish now, snap throw to first, not in time. Count 0-1 to Jimenez. Reached on a fielder's choice and scored a run last inning. Lined almost to first. It's off the glove of the first baseman, Nunless. And the runners advance. So she was in she's in fair territory. That went off her glove.
Right.
Wow. So the runners advance here. So runners on first and second.
And they gave her a hit on that.
Now it looks like we have our first error of, well, they gave her a hit and an error.
Yeah, they did. And I think part of the error was that there should have been a play made at second base. So they called the error on not getting the advanced runner.
And this one gets away from Lohiza. So runners advance. So runners on second and third now.
Mark that down as a pass ball.
Yeah, now in this situation, you really need to get the ball hit someplace. You don't absolutely have to have a hit, but you want to get it out of the infield so at least the runner from third can score.
And this is where everybody laughs. If he was around, Scott Beck would say, "Yeah, I know what Mr. Pavlovich is going to do. Drop a bunt." I love dropping a bunt
With
in
runners
this
on
position.
second and third?
Yeah. Make Lamar at third base. Make a play on this ball.
Martinez through the left side. No need to bunt. She's going to drive in one. Holding at third is Jimenez as Gambala scores. And it's an RBI single for Martinez. Hoping her own calls. She's now in there in the circle as well. So Cerritos takes its first lead of the afternoon. It's now 4-3 Falcons. So that early start, that hot start by Cuesta, just ignited these Falcons from the second inning on and really started to string a couple of hits together.
Well, it's good to see that Spoelstra's back from an injury. A couple of weeks ago, she had looked like kind of like a walking cast on it. She wasn't able to play. That was at the I believe that was the East Los Angeles game. So, you know, another bat and another glove that you need to have in the lineup all the time.
Spoelstra through the right side, and that scores a run. And it's 5-3 now, Cerritos.
And if you want to advance in the playoffs, the one thing, and I know everybody's going to talk that's listened to us here on sports@usa.net. Ed's heard it too many times from me, and it goes back that thing. You've got to be strong in the circle. I don't care if women hit better today. There's just that lacking quality in the circle. And I know I'll always argue it, but I can go back to Cuesta numbers a few years back. Starters ERA 1.18 when Cuesta was a dominant softball team.
Soto, the leadoff hitter, takes a look at ball two. It's been 4 straight singles here for Cerritos in the third, after the strikeout by Velasquez to start the inning. This one grounded to first, so Nonetheless handles it by herself, but the runners move up to second and third.
Yeah, I was about to say, with the wind really starting to gust and blow pretty much to straightaway center, right, Mark?
Mm-hmm.
This is a time to get the ball up in the air, but a little nubber and does advance the runners, but you losing out in the process.
So the dangerous Haley Davis, she had a 2 RBI double to even the game last inning. Ahead in the count 1-0. Off speed, this one, oh, nice backhand in the hole. No play though, however, as Sims just going to hold on to it, but 1 run does score as Martinez scores the 3rd run of the inning for Cerritos. So Haley.
And Rahshaun, I'm going to go back to something you just said. Such a smart play by Sims. You will see even the men, their counterparts at shortstop, make a play like that, Ed, and somebody flings it.
There goes Haley, and she's out trying to steal and run Cerritos out of the inning. But the damage is done. 4 straight singles, 5 singles in total lead to 3 runs here in the inning, and they've now doubled up Cuesta 6-3 here as we're through 3.
Yeah, and I'd agree with you, Mark. I've seen so many times that, I mean, the smart thing is like what she did, Sims did. You make the play, you stop it, and you know you can't make you're not going to have enough time to make the throw, even if you have a really strong arm, and she might have a really strong arm. You've got to have the smarts, too, to know that, hey, this is not the time to throw. Because so many games we've seen over the years, whether it's community college softball, Division I softball with Cal State Fullerton and all the big teams they play, the PGF, high school, whatever it might be, people have a tendency to throw the ball away. And if you're not going to be able to make that play, there's no point in even trying, because so many times we see the ball gets by the first baseman, the ball gets by the third baseman or whatever, and then the team scores a run plus the other runner advances, and it's detrimental.
Well, and you look at the ending of that inning too, Rahshaun, is because she doesn't throw the ball, the runner stays at first, then goes on the next pitch. And what do? They throw her out, and they get out of the inning.
Yeah, yeah.
So Sims played a heck of a play.
And they keep that runner on third, too, because
Yeah.
that could have easily been 2-run scoring.
Yeah, heck of a play. You know, Ed, let's go back. You've been around Cody. You're out here. SportsNetUSA.net is streaming all their games this year. But you've been around her as a softball coach. We've been out here enough. One of the young women I don't think gets enough. You always hear about Brad Pickler. Always hear about Brad. But very rarely does anybody talk about Cody, and yet she's won her state championships and always seems to have a competitive team when she doesn't necessarily get the pick of the crop for softball players here at Cerritos College.
Well, you have the situation. We were here a couple of years back. They played Long Beach. They played Long Beach a couple of days ago, and the game was at over at in Lakewood, because Long Beach's field is being rebuilt. Long Beach won the game, but that's a huge rivalry between those two schools. And as you pointed out, they are going after
the same people.
The same people. So, you know, that's really an issue.
So Martinez, after helping her own cause at the dish, will go back out to do more work here in the fourth. This one lifted high to center. Davis is there, and there is one away.
I mean, yeah, you can always recruit from anywhere, but you know, the same high schools. So if you look at the rosters of Long Beach and you look at the roster of Cerritos, you're going to see some, you know, oh, somebody on Cerritos, they went to, you know, Milliken or wherever, and you'll see the same thing over at Long Beach. So that's also part of that rivalry. And who do you get to play when, you know, you're kind of trying to get water out of the same well, so to speak.
And Rio Hondo's not that far away. They pick and choose who they might get, who's left over.
Yeah, and even you could consider El Camino is not really that far away either. So, and LA Harbor, they've had trouble. So LA Harbor's had troubles even fielding a team this year. They had to postpone several games, so I'm not really sure if how many they're going to be able to play.
This one lined to right, and Velasquez there to record the out. So Vargas is retired. Back-to-back outs recorded by the outfield, and Martinez is rolling right along here.
And of course, Rahshaun brought up too, Ed, that the high schools just don't play softball in the LA market anymore.
Or if they do, certainly not the grade that it was.
Yeah, well, even when we talked with
slapped right back to Martinez. She handles it herself. So 3 up, 3 down for Cuesta once again here in the fourth, as Perry is retired. And so the score remains 6-3 through 3.5.
Well, when we did the Dave Hawk Wilder 3 years ago, and we were speaking with Coach Sal from Glendale, he said that straight out, that, you know, the city section, as Rahshaun said, is not what it was in years past, and it's just hard to find, you know, young ladies that are coming out of high school that really want to play community college softball for his area. They're playing other sports. And then, you know, with you guys are talking about lacrosse, that's going to take away some more young ladies. So the best talented athletes of the girls' sports in those schools, Rahshaun, they're playing other sports. They're playing basketball, track and field,
volleyball
whatever,
a little bit
volleyball.
too. Yeah, but I mean, I think you look overall in LA, I think the numbers are dwindling, period. Like, I think it's a small part of a bigger problem. And that problem, in my opinion, if I'm being honest here, I just don't know that there's a commitment to sports from the Los Angeles city section. overall. Um, I just don't think that it's there. I think there are too many rules um, that forbid coaches, that forbid programs from doing things. There are just too many stop signs to be able to not only bond with the team, but to build a good team, to build a cohesive unit and a competitive unit at that. Um, whether it's lack of practice time or the hours they restrict on the practice time, like things that the Southern section doesn't necessarily have to deal with. There's just a lot of that going on in LA. First pitch strike to Brianna Spolstra.
So you were saying that the Southern section should take over the LA section?
It wouldn't be a bad idea from an athletic standpoint. I mean, I don't. I mean, honestly, I don't know that fixes the problem. Because the Southern section has its own issues.
He needs to do full disclosure here that he gets a stipend from the Southern section. Come on, he goes to lunch with the big guys. No, just joking. But yeah, there's sometimes there is too many sections and too many different rules, and maybe that's where the state section needs to step in and say, we need to kind of.
Yeah, but I think they're so off base.
Yeah, really the state section doesn't even seem to run things anyways. All the sections are kind of their own little. Whatever.
Nice backhand stop at second and a beautiful throw there. Crawford making the play in the hole to retire Spolstra. What a beauty there.
That was an outstanding play.
And give it to Nunless, who stretches on the throw. Sometimes that first base person makes you look like a genius in the infield because they'll always dig it out for you and make that out at first.
When you look at the state, I think they're a little off base. They're so far removed, and they kind of pop in whenever it's their time. The sections really do their own day-to-day grunt work. So I think they have a better grasp on it. But I mean, it's a little confusing why LA has its own section when there are a lot of other schools in Los Angeles County. Like St. Bernard and Westchester are across the street from each other in two different sections.
Yeah, makes no sense, does it?
So that part doesn't make much sense to me. But I mean, I think the Southern section has its own issues that they're trying to figure out. Because I mean, they're having issues too. Because you look with the influence of the private schools. I mean, it's not as bad as what's happening at the city section schools, but I mean, even at some of the Southern section public schools, they're losing whether attendance for sports as well. This one dribbles and gets away.
Well, I think you bring up a good point when you talk about club. You can throw in the AAU when you talk about things like that have hurt all along. And Rahshaun, what bothers me when you say this is happening is many of these students would use athletics to get to the next level.
It starts to make you wonder, like, what are they doing? Like, how are they getting to the next level?
Yeah.
Because so many times, I mean, the Valley Victorian was also a member of the softball team and the volleyball team, and or the football team or what have you, and you just don't see that happening as much as Aros pops this one up and over the Cerritos dugout, and we'll do it again. Full count here.
Well, let's think about that 2.5 student whose folks can't afford the ritzy school, but a 2.5 and a great athlete used to get an Ivy League scholarship and a great education. Nowadays, they get rid of the sport. Where's that 2.5 student go? If they're lucky, they get into a state university.
I'll take it a step further as Aros grounds this one foul right in front of us. What about that 2.5 or maybe that 2.2 GPA athlete who's just kind of middling in an inner city environment and has nothing else but sports, but that sport is cut away or there's not enough time devoted to that sport? What's that young man or young lady going to do with all this extra time now?
Yeah, and I agree with you. As much as us being in sports, and of course I'm a theater arts person too, there's character that's built through sports.
Absolutely.
There's attitude. There's so much of sports that's just not talked about. which is sad. Oh, they won a game. They won a trophy. No, there's much more than that when it comes to sports. You could tell probably story after story about young people who've succeeded that you know because of being so involved.
There goes Aros, and they get her easy.
No.
No, safe. Wow.
No.
Missing the tag there was Sims. The throw got her by a good 20 feet, but Sims unable to apply the tag.
Yeah, she missed the tag.
Wow.
Good call
I mean,
by
normally
the
if it's close, right, they give it to you, right?
Well, no, here, and you know, that's really interesting. Corey Nealon and I were talking about the whole cheating thing, about people being cheaters, like with the Astros. How many times in baseball have you seen the phantom tag at second base? They call somebody out.
It's like if you're in the zone, right, or like turning the double play, shortstop doesn't even touch the bag, but they're in the area, right?
That's it. You know, hey, I was close to tagging her. Yeah, you're out, you know, and this shortstop goes, thank you. Yeah.
So it was a beautiful throw by Loaiza, but Sims unable to finish the play. So with a runner on second, now here's Velasquez. Velasquez did not have a very good AB her last time up, going down on strikes. But ahead in the count here, 3-0.
Well, sometimes the rules need to be followed to the actual
To it.
way they're written. If that wasn't the case, I would have shot 66 at Anaheim Hills numerous times.
Well,
I would have made all those birdie putts.
I tell you, if all you have to do is be there, I got a PhD.
Corey Nealon, birdie putt from 150 yards out.
That's true.
I mean, come on. So, but like I said, good call by the umpire there. But one thing that concerns me the most, especially since we do a lot of community college sports and community college softball, is, my thing is, how do we get more recognition? And that's something we've been trying to do in whatever our efforts are, as small as they may be. But my thing is, the community colleges, especially softball, especially the women's sport, don't get as much recognition as they deserve. There are some really good players out here in community college softball.
It's a great game.
And yet they get overlooked. Matter of fact, Janelle last year was telling me when I interviewed her that, not to name any names, but she tries to get her players into four-year schools, just like Cody does, just like Lisa does at San Diego Canyon. And she called up a coach and said, hey, I've got this second baseman that could fit into your program. And the attitude was, well, hey, if they're not with us as freshmen, we don't even want them. We won't even look at them. To me, that's the wrong attitude. You need to, hey, if it's a good player, you bring in a good player. Doesn't matter if they were at a community college. They can still be a contributor to you at the four-year level.
Oh yeah,
that's just silly. And for coaches to have that kind of bias,
you see that in a lot of sports.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
if
basketball,
they won't even recruit a JC player unless they absolutely unless there's a tremendous need there. They absolutely have a huge gap that they need to fill. A new pitcher for Cuesta, and it's Maddie Mata, the freshman. 3-2 on the year, 4.75 ERA, 40 hits, 10 Ks, 9 walks, 27 runs, 19 earned. Is having a duck out of that one is Gambala. This is her 8th appearance and her 4th out of the bullpen. She's pitched 28 innings this season. And inherits 2 runners on first and second.
And since we've done community college football, Golden West for over a decade, the Hornets almost for 2 decades now with Mark and Corey, how many good community college football players have you two guys seen who could play at the D1 and D2 level? That may not get a shot because of what you just said, Rahshaun.
Well, I got 20 years worth, so I got numerous.
I've seen a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen a ton. This one to Sims. She goes the short way to third, across the diamond, and not in time. So they get the lead runner in Aros as Gambalo reaches on the fielder's choice. So it'll be runners on first and second.
And if Katie Lamar doesn't double clutch at third base when she catches the ball, she double clutches to make sure she makes a good throw to first. If she catches it and throws, they've got an easy double play right there at both corners. Going to get a pinch runner now coming in.
Looks like Maya Marshall.
Erica Martinez.
Or Erica Martinez.
Yeah, Zalian.
Dom Jimenez at the plate. Takes a lick at strike one. 2 out here for the Falcons. In the bottom half of the 4th inning, Falcons trailed 3-0 and have scored 6 unanswered here to take a 6-3 lead.
And again, this says a lot about Cody and her coaching abilities out here at Cerritos College. I mean, people would look at them and say they're down by 3, and what does she do? She's got a team that keeps growing in front of her. And again, a team that just has no attitude on, uh-oh, we're in trouble.
This one lined right back up the middle over the outstretched arm of Crawford. Velasquez is going to score. Turning the corner and scoring all the way from first is Martinez. And so it's now 8-3 Cerritos.
And give it to Cody. She's over at third base. Now, if you could watch this as a base coach, her runner is hitting second. She knows where the ball's at. She knows the ability of her runner. Ed, she never slows the runner down at third base. The runner turns, and if you're Cuesta in the outfield, you don't expect that. Again, give it to Cody and her experience as a softball coach, knowing what she's doing there at third base. Excellent call and running ability by this Falcon team.
Man, what an interesting turn of events here for Cerritos. They've now scored 8 straight after falling behind 3-0 here in the early going. As Chastity Martinez will try to help her own cause once again. Last time up, she had an RBI single in the last inning. RBI opportunity presents itself here. She rips one foul along the third base side.
You know, if I'd have had my glove with me, I'd have caught that. Cody just said, great snap. Look, see, she just looked. She saw my hand move quickly and said, what great hands he has as an announcer.
She's trying to stifle a laugh, buddy.
You notice how she moved away.
She's got to concentrate on what she's doing. Whoa.
Whoa, this one lined over our head, a rocket sent in the foul territory.
You notice what confidence she's got me, Ed? Look at, she's out on the grass now.
There's certain rules from prohibiting me from being there with her, Mark. And foul ball. Nice stop by Lamar, but they say the ball was foul. And so the count's 1-2.
If you're not dirty at third, you haven't been playing. That's all there is to it.
Well, she's been playing.
She's been playing.
Dirty.
She's nice and dirty.
Martinez rips this one into the bullpen of Cuesta.
Right here, girl. You're just a little high.
I mean, she's fired off some lasers here in this at-bat, all in foul territory, albeit. Check swing foul. She just tries to stay alive there. The count stays 1-2. 2 outs here. Third pitcher of the afternoon for Cuesta. It's Maddie Mata. This is the third batter she's faced. And the count's now even 2-2.
Just off the plate there. Nice speed, nice height. She's got about maybe 3 pitches. She looks like she throws a rise pitch. She throws a nice off speed. And there it was.
There's Lamar. Easy play to first. And so the side is retired. But another big inning here for Cerritos as they score 2, and they lead it 8-3 after 4 here on SportsNetUSA.net.
Ed, I want to go back to you because I think it was a conversation we had last year, and maybe being an old guy, I might be a year behind. But are the playoffs the same again this year, or is this the year that the playoffs are being changed, or was that last year they got changed? I'm trying to remember.
They were changed 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
So the old system was you'd have your super regional was 4 teams of the super regional, but they changed that to individual super regionals. You would still have 4 of them, but whoever wins goes to the state. So the state championship used to just have 2 from the north, 2 from the south. And the last 2 years, it's had 4 from the north, 4 from the south. The first year they changed it, it was held at Mount Sac, and then they had to play a couple games at Citrus, and then they switched it back to Bakersfield after 1 year. So the majority of the games are at Bakersfield City College, but they play 2 games at Cal State Bakersfield. I think those are 2 of the elimination games in the second round, because there's only 1 field there at Bakersfield. So that's what it should be again this year. Like I said, a couple of the conferences have switched some teams around, and Cuesta is in a position where, like you said, this is an important game for them. Since they're not one of those automatic teams that's going to get in all the time, they have to do very well in their conference, and I would think pretty much win it to get a shot at being one of the playoff teams, being one of the teams in the regional.
And the rule doesn't state, because you've already said it, the rule doesn't state if you win the conference you get an automatic bid, right?
I don't think you do. Maybe you do after the famous, the Feather River debacle. But at least after that, the next year, of course, Feather River got in. And since then, that hasn't happened. But, with the way things have changed, the conference I'm concerned about is the one with, the Inland Empire one with College of the Desert and Barstow. Those aren't traditional powerhouse teams, and you could see those teams getting slighted.
Okay.
2 or 3 years ago, the same thing happened in Imperial Valley. They had a great season, and I think they finished 3rd in the Pacific Conference, and they were overlooked. I mean, because Palomar is there, they took Palomar, of course, Southwestern, and nothing against those 2 teams. They're very outstanding programs, and they deserve to be in the regionals. But Imperial really got overlooked. The next year, Imperial got in, but they really weren't as good as the year before. It was sort of like one of those, well, we blew this call, but we're gonna make it up on the next play, in football kind of thing.
A makeup call,
makeup call. It seemed like a makeup call to me, sort of like with Feather River. So we'll see what happens with College of the Desert and Barstow. But it'll only be 1 team out there. They're not going to take both of them, no matter how good the records might be.
This one slap foul by Josie Seamus. It'll be Seamus, Juarez, and Ziegler in the top half of the 5th for Cuesta. Chassis de Martinez in the circle, rolling right along here. Off speed, taken high. Ball 1. Mark, you talked about it earlier, just Cody Murray and the resilience that this team is showing. Line right to the second baseman, Spoelstra, and 1 away.
I think one of the things for Sean is that, this team was losing some games where if they had timely hitting or a lack of errors, they could have won. They played Mount Sac really tough a few games ago. Mount Sac had to score 4 runs, I think, in the 6th inning to beat them. They were ahead of East LA. In the past, they've had some troubles getting that timely hit to kind of break things open for them. So that's one thing I'm sure that the coaching staff and Cody has addressed. You guys need to get those timely hits.
Timely hits so key in this game, the game of baseball as well. And they've certainly gotten the timely hitting today. We talked about Cuesta earlier, and this just being a barometer. Like, yeah, okay, you started the season 12-6, but you're coming down here to Southern California and taking on a perennial top program in Cerritos. You know, how much of a barometer could this be for this team? As this one goes right back to Spolstra, she'll give it to her sister and two away.
I think earlier, if you guys look at the record, I believe they played. I think they've played Sac City a game or two. So yeah, they've played some quality teams. They are off to a much better start than they had last year. And I think another thing that the teams are always you always want to play good defense, and that has hurt a lot of teams. If you look at the box scores or whatever. I mean, even yesterday when Cypress and Mount Sac met up, both teams undefeated. I think Mount Sac was 13-0. Cypress was 9-0. Cypress won, but the Chargers committed 3 errors in that game, and they still pulled off. What was that? A 2-1 victory?
Yeah, that was a downfall a couple years ago, though. Not good defense.
Ziegler takes a look at ball one. Reversely, you mentioned, Ed, the lack of timely hitting for the Cerritos team. I mean, getting some today, having dropped a couple of tough conference games earlier in the week. How much can this be a game changer for them, as Spolstra unable to get to that one, going to her right, and it's going to be a 2-out single for Ziegler. How much could this game be a momentum boost for them, provided they're able to hold on?
Yeah, I think it really can be, because they had, if you looked at the record coming into the game against Rio Hondo, it was one of the worst starts that the Falcons have ever had with Cody as the coach. She's been there a long time, so they really needed to win that Rio Hondo game. Rio Hondo surprised them earlier in conference play and beat them. I mean, the Falcons were down there towards the bottom with Compton and LA Harbor, so they needed that win yesterday. On Thursday or Wednesday. They need the win today. They need to win this game.
Popped up to right. Coming up is Velasquez, and the side is retired. So Cuesta gets one on, but that's it. And they trail it here. 8-3 as we head to the bottom of the fifth.
Yeah, Rahshaun, just continuing on that, it's kind of like this is the second step. They need to go on kind of a run here and win 6 out of the next 8 games or somewhere around there. When they come up to teams that are on the same playing level, they've got to beat those teams. They've got some really tough opponents coming up. They've got a game against El Camino coming up. El Camino has always been a tough team, always plays this team tough. And Cerritos plays, no matter what, Cerritos does play El Camino tough. So that's going to be a tough game. And this time it's at El Camino. I think in maybe 9 games they're going to play Mount Sac. So they have some tough games coming up. So they need to right the ship. If you look at the RPI, which Mark doesn't like, and I'm not going to say I'm a fan of it either, but Cerritos' RPI, they are in the lower third of RPI for Southern California, and that's not a position that Cody is normally in. Historically, this team is always towards the top, the top 14, top 12 in RPI. So that's what has to happen here, is they need a real turnaround and go on a streak and win some games as they did last year at the end of the year. So to propel them back into this race into the South Coast Conference. If you look at Cody's record, guys, Cody Murray has never finished under 500 here at Cerritos.
18 years worth of
18 years.
18 years.
That's impressive.
That is an impressive record to keep it going that long. Because you see other coaches that have, excellent records, and they might have one, sub 500 record. So it's really important here for Cerritos. Same thing with Cuesta. As I said, they have to play well. They've got to beat teams like Cerritos and whoever when they get a chance, so they can boost their chances of getting into the regionals.
Big matchup today. Santiago Canyon's taking on Fullerton College today in softball.
That is a big matchup.
Big matchup. Could have a lot to do with what happens in the playoffs.
Another OEC game.
This one line to right, and there is Ziegler to make the catch, one away.
I'm not sure it's a big game, but we know. Santiago will be in there. Cypress will be in there. Fullerton will be in there.
Santa Ana might be there.
Well, Santa Ana will, because Santa Ana gets, I think they have a good program, but I think they get a tad overrated. Riverside's having a real bad year so far. So the surprise team in the OEC is Saddleback. They've kind of bounced back to where they used to be 4 or 5 years ago, and they have a shot at things. So, they're going to take 5 or 6 teams out of the OEC.
This one hits the batter Soto.
But I think it's a big game because who's going to be, right now, let's just face it, who's going to be number 2? Nobody's proven that they can beat Cypress yet.
That's it.
So now Santiago and Cypress haven't played yet, but that game's, they'll be playing next Friday, I believe. But who's going to be the second place team? Is it going to be Santiago? Is it going to be Fullerton? Is that game at Fullerton or at Santiago?
It's at Santiago.
Okay, because Fullerton has a voodoo thing going on Santiago at Fullerton. Santiago can't play at Fullerton.
Pass ball, another one, and Soto advances to second easily. It counts 1-1 to Haley Davis. Big day for her. She's 2 for 3 with a double and 3 RBI.
Well, and here's the thing, too, when you start looking at these things, too, Ed, it's that setup for the playoffs, too. I don't want to play Mount Sac in the playoffs because I know what's probably going to happen. I mean, Cody almost got the upset here or so ago. They won the first game. We all sort of went, oh, hold on. This could be the surprise upset. And they came close in the third game of actually beating Mount Sac.
Kind of like Brad got a little surprised by Southwestern.
Yes.
But
yeah,
the next 2 games weren't that close.
But we all said, too, if all of a sudden collar gets a little tight, anything could happen.
Counts full.
I mean, we've seen Lisa when she's down at Santiago Canyon that she doesn't allow her team to get in a 3-game because I think Lisa knows. If you get into 3 games, you get that third one, anything can happen.
Well, it wasn't the last time we were there. It was the
time before.
2018. They had to play that third game because they lost the opener.
Yeah.
They had to rally in the second game to just get bypassed, and then the third game they handled them well. But yeah, you don't want that to happen.
At just the second strikeout of the afternoon for Cerritos as Davis went down on strikes for out number 2.
I'm sure Mount Sac was a little nervous last year.
Oh yeah, so am I.
I think even Brad might have been a little nervous because who comes into Cypress and takes the first game from Cypress? We've been doing the super regionals there for a long time, Mark, and we never see that.
No.
I mean, usually in the regionals, it's 2 quick wins for Cypress, and they're
That's
hosting the super regional.
Yep.
Angelica Moreno Engelbrecht, the pinch hitter, and ahead in the count 2-0. Pinch hitting for Brianna Spoelstra. Spoelstra 0 for 1, 2 walks today. Counts 3-0. Like you talked about it, Mark. If there's something to be gained or learned about this one, is Angelica Moreno draws a 4-pitch walk, at least on the Cuesta side. got to get some solid pitching. And it's tough. I mean, they're kind of putting this thing together with Band-Aids and bubble gum. And it's worked so far this season, but like you said, if you want to go deeper, you got to have someone in that circle that's going to get you some show enough outs. And that has been the issue for them today.
Well, all good teams have at least one person in the circle that they can ride the arm. Really good teams are now discovering you need to have at least two.
But also you wonder, under normal circumstances, Kat Klein probably would have stayed in this game. And she was removed pretty early in this one. But you wonder if she gives them more of a chance, more of a stabilizing effort there in the circle, as opposed to the other arms that were sent out after her.
Yeah, and sometimes you wonder, I agree with you, Rahshaun, sometimes these games allow you to see other players maybe you don't in a conference game.
Because Coach Guadagno certainly did not want to pitch her much today. I thought we weren't going to see her at all, but she ended up getting the start. Count is 3-1 to Aros. And now it's full. And she admitted, I mean, this team's still looking for an identity in the circle, in a sense that they don't really have a true ace, right? I mean, you guys know this game. This one slapped right back up the middle. Turning the corner is Soto, and she is going to get home safely without a throw. So 2 on, and a run scored here. The lead is now 9-3 for Cerritos.
And, of course, now we're starting to inch into that run rule category here in the 5th inning. And, of course, you wonder if maybe both coaches have waived that because of the trip that Cuesta had to make to get down here. And they can do that.
Well, why would you waive it, though?
Or maybe the opposite. Speed traffic.
Rahshaun would say, that's good, we're good, let's go to dinner.
Let's face it, you get to the 101, right there past the 10, not the 10, the 710 and all that stuff. Oh, the thing turns into concrete. As in the cars turn into concrete, nothing moves.
Yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I mean, it's Friday traffic. I don't envy the ride back for this team heading back to the Central Coast today.
Now, you know, the private Rahshaun jet, you know, that lands
the limo
at you know, San Luis Obispo Airport. Yeah, you know, he only seats about 12, so not enough for the team.
Yeah.
Okay, 6 people to polish his shoes. Where did the other 5 seats go?
I don't know.
1 for the baby, 1 for the wife.
And 3 to do his wife's nails.
There we go. It's not bad.
Well.
But, we'll see.
That's just how I roll, you know.
Yeah. First, they've got to score those runs for us to get to that point.
Velasquez takes high.
And I can see some people's point against the run rule when the games are kind of close, and maybe a game like this. But there are other games that just, you know,
Well, you sent us some last week,
and
and that was just
brutal.
What was it, like 44 runs in 2 games and no scored against them?
Wow.
Yeah, because a couple days ago,
No, that's not having an ace.
I'm not sure who it was. Might have been Monterey that beat somebody like 35-0 or something like that. That's just, or it might have even been 40.
At what point do you just scrap the run rule and just say, I mean, when is enough, right? Do we really have to go the registered amount of innings to, I mean, once a team has scored 20.
I mean, sometimes, you know, there are some teams that just, matter of fact, it might have been Monterey. They played Yuba, and it was something like 44-0.
Velasquez draws her second walk of the afternoon. So the bases are juiced, full of Falcons here. And Erica Martinez, who came on to pinch a run and scored a run last inning, will get her first at-bat of the afternoon.
Okay, guys, how do you defense here? I mean, a
2
base
outs.
hit is going to score 2 runs,
Yeah.
or possibly could score 2 runs. I mean, if it's a long enough single, Cody's going to send the runner from second all the way. So Cuesta's really got to maybe play a little more shallow to
Yeah,
make sure
I'd bring my outfield at a couple feet. If it goes over their head, it goes over their head.
This one in the dirt.
And
Nice
it
block
looks
there
like
by
that's what's
Loaiza.
happening in left field. We can almost shake hands with the left fielder. Now she backs up about 3 paces.
Unable to find the outside corner there is Mata, and the count's 2-0.
And it's interesting to watch Cody as a base coach. When she gets more aggressive, she walks down the line as a base coach.
Off speed. Ball 3. So nowhere to put Martinez. And Mata in a little bit of trouble here. 3-0. Bags full of Falcons. 2 out. Off speed. In there for a strike.
I was going to ask, do you swing or do you take it?
It's interesting to watch Cody as a base coach. When she's not aggressive, she moves up towards the grass. When she gets aggressive, she goes back in the box.
Martinez rips this one to center. Going back and making the catch is Juarez. And the Falcons leave them full. But they get one here in the 5th and lead it 9-3 as we're through 5 complete.
So, Ed, as we look so far in the rankings that just came out, of course, we've talked about the sports@usa.net rankings. But when you look at the 3C FCA Coaches State Poll, Mount Sac, number 1, Monterey Peninsula, number 2, College of San Mateo, number 3, Cypress 4, San Jose 5, Palomar 6, then followed by Santa Ana, Sierra, Sacramento, and Santiago Canyon in the top 10 on there. And in the north alone, it's Monterey, San Mateo. San Jose City is number 3 in the north, Sierra and Sacramento City sitting there. So when you look at Monterey, College of San Mateo, San Jose City, did you basically have them 1, 2, 3 when you looked at the Sportsnet ranking? Where'd you have
Our
them?
rankings are, they're going to change after this week, of course. Our new ones come out on Mondays and Tuesdays. And our latest one, it's Mount Sac number 1. Number 2 is San Jose City College. Number 3 is Cypress College. Number 4 is San Mateo. Number 5 is Sac City. Number 6 would be Monterey Peninsula. They're 10-0. Nobody's beaten them yet. I'm just doing that off the top of my head, so I can't remember who's 7. 7 is probably Palomar. No, 7 is West Valley. Palomar is next, and number 9 would be Santiago Canyon.
Okay.
So
Pretty top heavy with the north there, Mark.
It is. It is top heavy, and I was gonna bring that up to Ed because again, we always have this conflict, north versus south, in the rankings, and some of us sort of lean heavier towards the south because I do think the better quality softball player because of doing the PGF for so many years here on Sportsnet, USA.net. When we would see them, Rahshaun, the Southern players were just there. There was a plethora. You would get the really good 1 or 2 Northern players, but the Southern players were outstanding.
well, you have a lot of the.
This one slap bunted, popped up and caught. First baseman coming in there, Spolstra, and 1 away.
Yeah, the club. There are stronger club teams in Southern California. Let's face it. Different ones that have won, that are out there that we would watch. I mean, it's just you got to look at the facts. I think we still should rank the Northern California teams. I mean, they're good Northern California teams. What would help the Northern California teams, though, is
Come down here.
Oh yes, coming down here and playing would show if they are as good as people think they are.
That one fouled back.
And San Mateo does come down and play at Bakersfield. They have the little thing where they play Bakersfield and Santiago. Then they come down another time. And I think Monterey is coming down soon to Bakersfield. But they don't really come all the way down here and play like Cypress. We hope to correct that. But one of the things that would help the Northern California for their stature and, bragging rights is a team like San Mateo. They're always ranked high. They get in the state championship. They don't win. I mean, last year it was Mount Sac against Palomar in 2019 for the state championship. The year before that, it was Mount Sac and Palomar. 2017, it was Cypress against somebody from the south. Might have been Mount Sac. So,
caught in foul territory by the third baseman, Aros, and 2 away.
And, the man with the big championship ring on was just waiting there to make us, got those soft hands. He's just waiting to make that catch.
Did you hear that?
I heard it.
You can learn something.
I didn't see you move fast
Championship
enough.
ring, soft hands.
Now, I don't know all the opponents of all the – you can go on the CCAA website and you can see the past champions. And I don't know every, who the champion played, the second place team, so to speak. But of the research I've done, and I've done a lot of years, there has never been, to my knowledge, North against North in the state championship.
I don't remember that.
South against South has happened lots of times.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, in the last 10 years, I think the North has only won one time, and that would be Sierra College. All the rest of the time. In that period, you've had Mount Sac win 2019, 2018. 2017 was Cypress. 2016 was Santiago Canyon, Lisa Camargo. 15.
Lamar drives this one deep but out of play into the Cuesta bullpen.
Yeah, 15 I think was Palomar. So it just, the only team that's won from the North more than one championship is Sacramento City College.
And right back up the middle, Katie Lamar with her first hit of the ball game.
So Lamar gets into second, Rahshaun, as there's a bobble in center field and takes advantage of it, even though she is down in the game right now. Beautiful running on her part. She watched the play in front of her. Center fielder takes her eye off the ball. She bobbles it. She doesn't hesitate, and that's a smart base runner playing the game of softball, making sure she knows what's going on in front of her, gets down quickly, and a nice play by her, even though her team is down right now.
Here's something I'd like to ask you two. You talked about teams from the North not necessarily coming down here and playing teams from the South. Why don't we see more of that? Like across all sports, why don't we see more teams from the North taking on teams from the South, or teams from down here going up there?
I think it happens a lot in basketball now. I've noticed this season there are a lot of the Southern teams going up north and playing in tournaments.
Well, Fullerton College just went up to Northern California to play in a softball tournament.
Yeah. Where?
Supposedly they went up to San Jose region to play in a softball tournament. Well, that's what I happen to know that the 145 sports broadcasting instructor got told.
I'm not sure about that one. You can look at Fullerton College's record. Their schedule.
Their schedule.
I think the highest they go
is because a slow ground ball to second, you don't send the runner home. But look where she was standing as a base coach. And I'd love to go next time I come out here for a game and just ask her and say, wait a minute, are you tipping things from me watching you, or am I reading too much into this? It's really been wild in this game, because when she's up by the grass, it's a very conservative. Ed, that was an easy ground ball to second. The runner could have scored. She's standing back here. When she sent people, she has been in the coach's box.
Alex Lara pops it up to short. Seamus is there, and the side is retired. So the Falcons leave a couple. No runs, but they remain ahead by 6. Cerritos 9, Cuesta 3.
Hey, Corey Nalen, I know you said you were going to try and watch this game or pick up on part of it, and I just want to throw something at you because you can't respond. But, I know we've had these arguments about ERA year after year after year. So let's just talk about a few people. Melissa Molina, these are all people out of Cuesta. 2000, 2001, ERA 1.12. Brooke Ponder, 98, 99, 1.19. Kelly Scott, 1.32. Whitney Jenks, 1.66. Oh, you want something recent? Well, how about Demi Daniel, 2.04. That was 1916 and 17.
1916.
Yeah, no, actually 2016.
Oh,
okay. No, but my numbers are right. My numbers are
I
right.
know your
It's
numbers.
okay. My numbers are right. My year was wrong. My numbers are right. People to my left are looking at me going, wait a minute. And then all of a sudden you go to maybe it gets up there in the Corey Nalen range. Sarah Clinton, 2.93. Corey, this I'm going to go back to you and say yes. There is room in community college softball for those ERAs to drop, and you had a group of young women at Cuesta College that kept him down in the Pavlovich ERA range. And Corey Nalen should understand that's where pitching should be in the circle.
I think if you go onto the CCCAA website, look up the Monterey Peninsula Lobos, look at their ERA. I believe they've only allowed 4 runs, period, in their 10 wins. And I'm not sure all those runs are earned. So
there you go, Corey
their
Nalen.
ERAs for their pitchers are really low. And then we have the pitcher at Mount Sac who threw the 2 no-hitters.
Yeah.
Can't recall her name, but
wasn't one of those a perfect game or
yeah,
almost?
yeah. One was a perfect game, and the other one was
almost. She walked one person.
Yeah, something like that.
She almost went back-to-back perfect games.
Got to think that. But she was the pitcher when Cerritos Falcons played them.
Yes.
And they had to score the 4 runs. So, yeah, you still have some people with some arms out there. I mean, last year you had. Mount Sac had a couple of good pitchers. The young lady that pitched for Antelope Valley, she was phenomenal. Had two back-to-back no-hitters. Palomar had some good arms. So some real dominant pitchers that didn't give up a lot of runs and had sub-2 ERAs, maybe even sub-1.5 ERAs.
Abby Hernandez behind the plate now for Cerritos. As Chastity Martinez returns to the circle, she's been phenomenal since entering this game.
And Rahshaun, you're absolutely right. 3 runs in the first 2 innings, and then nothing but goose eggs up there for Cerritos College.
That one low. And 2-1 the count. Cuesta, a lot of ground to make up here, down by 6, top of the 7th inning. Otherwise, you fire up the buses. But this is a program that's certainly on the right track. Coach Guindano, her 3rd season at the helm. Prior to her, they had 8 coaches and 10 seasons at Cuesta. So her main thing is to try to provide a little bit of stability and keep some of those players home, she said. Some of those players that were leaving, going to other schools, or not even thinking about softball. Keep the talent right there in the area and even expand it. Show that, hey, look, we're working hard. We're trying to do something here at Cuesta. Says if players want to be goal-oriented, they want a change of scenery, they want to come and work hard, it's beautiful out there on the Central Coast. And drawing a leadoff walk here is Katie Perry.
Yeah, it's much tougher in an area like that. I mean, yeah, you have high schools there, but it's not like Cypress, where you've got people can go, you can get players from almost anywhere, and there's lots of quality players, and there's lots of high schools. You're limited on the Central Coast because of the distances.
Well, and the other thing is, too, Ed, you might have 100 schools in the Orange County. That means you've got 100 great players. There's always going to be one outstanding player at every high school in the area. You go up there, you have 30 schools. Now, you have 30 great players, but they're not going to all stay there. And if you get that 10%, if you're down in Orange County, you're going to get 10 to 15 girls that stay. If you're up there, you're going to get 3 if you're lucky.
And also, how many club teams are based here in Orange County or the sort of Orange County-ish area into
Riverside.
Cerritos, Riverside, Long Beach.
This one grounded to third. Aros goes to second. They get one, but the relay not in time. So the lead runner, Perry, is retired. Seamus advances on a fielder's choice. And so that'll bring up Emily Juarez. This field, this stadium, magnificent. I've never been here before.
It's a great field. It's a really nice softball field.
Bill Griffin.
Nancy Kelly Field.
Bill Griffin is the one who upkeeps this monument here. And talking to Cody before the game, she said we wanted to make sure to let the world know this is Bill Griffin's work. He's done a great job with this. She's very thankful to him.
Oh, yeah, you go out in the outfield, and the turf is like a fairway in golf, at a good golf course, not, one of those.
Brea?
Oh, hey, it's not called Brea anymore. I didn't think they had fairways.
Oh.
But it's really a quality field here.
Yeah, I've walked past here before, this alley right here to our right.
One where a ticket's on your car?
This one fouled away. Well, we can see the football stadium from here. And they don't let you tailgate in those parking lots out in front, so you have to go out here to this other lot here back behind us. So we took the walk back there. And I mean, tailgating is just next level with some of these privates, these Boscos in modern days. It's incredible. So I walked past here before, but I've never stepped foot inside of here. This one line to right and goes between the legs of Velasquez. Coming around to score is Seamus. And getting into third very easily is Juarez.
You love seeing a team like this that shows so much hustle and so much grit in a game that they're turning at second base and they're running like it's a 1-0 game right now here in the 7th. And that says a lot for their head coach and what she's instilled in these young women.
So that's an error on the right fielder, Velasquez. You don't give her a hit at all on that?
Yeah, you give her a hit.
A single and an error?
You give a hit.
I don't see the hit up there, though.
You should get a hit with a 2-base error.
That's what it should be. This one slapped, and that goes off of the heel there of Spoelstra at second. And another run going to come in and score. So Juarez scores easily from third. So Cuesta here in the 7th, not going away quietly, scoring their first run since back in the 2nd inning.
I'm waiting to see how they score that. I know how I would score that. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Well, I'm waiting. That's an error on Spoelstra. I don't care. I really
think that's an error?
Oh, yeah, I have real problems with these bad hop singles. If your body's in front of that, and as you realize when she went for it, she goes on the glove side, it comes up and bites her in the arm. If you're in front of the ball the way you should be, it bounces off your body. There is a possibility to get the runner at first. If you take it off the side, there is no possibility to get it. One of the things that drives me crazy with the guys that play baseball, the guys love the side saddle ball. These are fundamentally sound players in the game of softball. And so that's why you will usually see a Scott Beck or a Ryan Osborne or myself be a little more critical on the errors when it comes in softball, because all these women play the game so well that if it's just that error in lining up properly, the ball gets away, we'll penalize the defensive player.
I thought you were going to say something about Scott Becker or Ryan Osborne's fielding.
Oh, well, yeah. First of all, Ryan Osborne can't bend over.
Oh,
I left her right there.
If it was a French cruller rolling at him.
It's a maple bar with bacon on it.
Steady hands. Talk about eating one up at short. Oh, he'd have it.
Yeah. And Scott Beck just don't care anymore. He'd take one step and stop. Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Forget it.
That's
what
it.
am I even doing here?
Yeah, that's it.
Tough luck for Chastity Martinez. She gets ran here in the 7th after a really good outing, but a couple of errors behind her. has caused Cody Murray to bring the hook, and so Cody not playing any games. Talking to her before the game, asked her if we would see Skylar Swearingen today. She said, well, I hope not. Well, here she is in the circle. Swearingen, the ace of this staff, out there to try to pick up the final 2 outs here for the Cerritos side.
She can bring it. For a slight-built pitcher, she can bring the heat. Saw her pitch in high school. She was excellent then.
Just her second relief appearance on the season. Swearingen, 3-4, 4.17 ERA, 54 hits, 31 Ks, 8 walks, 38 runs, 27 of those earned, and 45 in the third innings pitched. This is her 12th appearance of the season, but just the second out of the bullpen. She's given up 5 home runs this year, however. This Cuesta team, not a threat to go yard. They do most of their work on the base paths. But Swearingen behind in the count 2-1 to Claire Lohiza. Lohiza through the right side.
Yeah, and you go into this inning, if you're Cerritos, you have that 6-run cushion, then it's a 5-run cushion. Now it's a 4-run cushion. So yeah, you've got to, and now they've got another runner on. You've got to be serious to, this isn't going to be a cruise anymore. They've got to bear down and make the defensive plays. And Cuesta's going to try to keep getting a hit after hit after hit and just keep chipping away, and that's what they're doing.
Bailey Crawford 0 for 3 with a couple of Ks, looks at strike 1.
And Rahshaun or Mark, a long base hit here, something that rolls to the fence, is going to score 2. And then this is back to being a really tight game.
Yeah, and I think that just a hit makes it a tight game. Because you've seen Ed a little shaky in the fielding, and when you start thinking out there, oh boy, don't make it tough on me.
Oh yeah, a hit will bring the tying run to the plate.
Yeah.
Chopper, left side, and Spolstra goes to Eros at third to get the lead runner.
Very nice play.
Yeah, the smart play.
Smart play. Get the one in front of you.
So Ziegler retired. Lohiza at second and Crawford over at first. And Nunless back in there. She was pinch hit for in the last inning.
Hit.
Nunless 0 for
Oh, there it is.
2 today with this one. It was caught out there in the outfield by Velasquez, so that'll do it. So nice job, nice effort there by Cuesta, putting up a couple runs in the 7th. But they will go down here to Cerritos in the homecoming for Coach Danelle Guadagno as they fall 9-5. 5 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors for Cuesta, 9 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors for Cerritos. Cerritos improves to 6-6 as Cuesta falls to 12-7 on the year. Maybe this could be somewhat of a diving board, a springboard for the Cerritos team as they're back at 500 now and looking to get back on track.
Well, I think it's a big win for Cerritos. I think that loss, you sort of sit there and go, okay, we've got a good team. But for Cuesta, for coming almost back at, I think this is a team that they could find one more arm in the circle. Could be a team that if you're up in the region, you don't want to play in the playoffs because they could be a surprising team. I like the way Rahshaun had them come out early. I think they could hold people off if they could find one per person for the circle. With that coach, they've got a good chance in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think it's also a matter of time. You may have that pitcher. One of the 3 that we saw today could be that pitcher. Just needs a couple more games to mature isn't the word, but get it together, get into the groove, and then they could have something going. And who knows, maybe you get a second pitcher that comes along, maybe improves by 50%. Then you could be tough. Like you said, it's better to have 2, but if you can find that one arm that really can carry you, then you just ride that one arm in the circle and you do it. It's a long season, and I think Cuesta's still in a good position. If you look at the other teams in their conference, you have to play everybody. And let's face it, it's not, you don't win on paper. But I think they match up with everybody. Ventura might be a bit tougher than the other teams in that conference now. But it's Cuesta's sitting on top, at least in, wins and losses. And let's see if they can really do that once conference play comes in and beat some of those teams, and maybe they get the bid and go into the regional.
The admiration between these two head coaches is phenomenal. Of course, Janelle Guadagno playing for Cody and assistant for her as well. After 2 years as an assistant, Cody said, I told her after 2 years, you got to go back and get your master's. She did go get her master's, actually started teaching a class here at Cerritos and during the summer, and while she was doing that, started lining up some interviews. Cuesta was her first interview. She gets the job, and Cody was just thrilled about that. So it's just a tremendous story. And so this Cuesta team, under good leadership, has nothing to hang its head down about as they head back up 101 and back towards the cooler temperatures of the Central Coast. That's going to do it for us here on SportsNetUSA.net. Once again, our final score here, Cerritos 9, Cuesta 5. Cerritos pulls back even at 6-6 on the year as Cuesta falls to 12-7. From our broadcast partners, Ed Ford and Mark Pavlovich, I'm Rahshaun Haylock saying thanks so much for watching Community College Softball right here on SportsNetUSA.net. We'll see you next time. Good afternoon from Cerritos.